Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hi, Shri Radha Madhava ki jai. Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Together. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual masters opened my eyes with the torch light of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto them and beg for service life after life. Thank you all for coming to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class here in Kalachandji Dham. We will be going through, we're in Canto 5, we're starting chapter 19. We're going to read through verses 1 through 8, but actually I just want to, let's go through the focus verse first, and then we'll read through. It's going to be text 6, chapter 19. Navai, can't read that one. Navai sa atmatmavatam surittama. Navai sa atmavatam suritmata tama. Saktas trilokyam bhagavan vasudeva. Saktas trilokyam bhagavan vasudeva. Nastri kritam kashmalam ashnuvita. Nastri kritam kashmalam ashnuvita. Na lakshmanam chapi vihatumarhati. Na lakshmanam chapi vihatumarhati. Go ahead and chant. Surittama. Saktas trilokyam bhagavan vasudeva. Nastri kritam kashmalam ashnuvita. Na lakshmanam chapi vihatumarhati. Navai sa atmavatam suritvama. Saktas trilokyam bhagavan vasudeva. Nastri kritam kashmalam ashnuvita. Na lakshmanam chapi vihatumarhati. Navai sa atma mavatam surittama. Sakta Strilokyam Bhagavan Vasudeva. Nastri Kritam Kashmalam Ashnavita. Na Lakshmanam Chapi Vihatumarhati. We can go word for word. Na, not. Why, indeed. Sa, he. Atma, the supreme soul. Atmavatam, the self-realized souls. Surittama, the best friend. Sakta, attached. Trilokyam, to anything within the three worlds. Bhagavan, the supreme personality of Godhead. Vasudev, the all-pervading Lord. Na, not. Sri Kritam, obtained because of his wife. Kashmalam, suffering of separation. Ashnuvita, would obtain. Na, not. Lakshmanam, his younger brother Lakshman. Cha, also. Api, certainly. Vihatum, to give up. Arhati, be able. Whose older brother is, who's Lakshman's older brother? Ram. So this verse is describing Lord Ram. Let's go ahead and read the translation. Since Lord Sri Ramachandra is the supreme personality of Godhead Vasudev, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved supersoul of all self-realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences. Therefore, he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshman, his younger brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible. Purport. In defining the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we say that he is full in all six opulences: wealth, fame, strength, influence, beauty, and renunciation. He is called renounced because he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is specifically attached to the spiritual world and the living entities there. The affairs of the material world take place under the superintendence of Durga Devi. I'm going to skip that. Everything is going on under the strict rules and regulations of the material energy, represented by Durga. Therefore, the Lord is completely detached and need not give attention to the material world. Sita Devi belongs to the spiritual world. Similarly, Lord Lakshman, Ramachandra's younger brother, is a manifestation of Sankarshan, and Lord Ramachandra himself is Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Since the Lord is always spiritually qualified, he is attached to servants who always render transcendental loving service unto him. He is attached to the truth in life, not to Brahminical qualities. Indeed, he is never attached to any material qualities. Although he is the supersoul of all living entities, he is specifically manifest to those who are self-realized, and he is especially dear to the hearts of his transcendental devotees. Because Lord Ramachandra descended to teach human society how dutiful a king should be, he apparently gave up the company of Mother Sita and Lakshman. Factually, however, he could not have given them up. One should therefore learn about the activities of Lord Ramachandra from a self-realized soul. Then one can understand the transcendental activities of the Lord. And who's the self-realized soul we're learning about the activities of Lord Ramachandra from? Srila Prabhupada! Woo! Okay. Now we'll go through the verses 1 through 8. I like these verses a lot.
Srila Sukadev Goswami said, "My dear king, in Kimpapurusha Varsa, the great devotee Hanuman is always engaged with the inhabitants of the land in devotional service to Lord Ramachandra, the elder brother of Lakshmana and dear husband to Sita Devi."
A host of Gandharvas is always engaged in chanting the glories of Lord Ramachandra. That chanting is always extremely auspicious. Hanumanji and Arshti Shena The chief person in Kim Purusha Varsha constantly hear those glories with complete attention. Hanuman chants the following mantras.
So now we're hearing from Hanuman himself.
Let me please your lordship by chanting the Bija mantra Omkar. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances into the personality of Godhead, who is the best among the most highly elevated personalities. Your lordship is the reservoir of all good qualities of our Aryans, people who are advanced. Your character, your behavior are always consistent, and you always control your senses and mind, acting just like an ordinary human being. You exhibit exemplary character to teach others how to behave. There's a touchstone that can be used to examine the quality of gold, but you're like a touchstone that can verify all good qualities. You are worshipped by Brahmanas, who are the foremost of devotees. You, the Supreme Person, are the King of Kings, and therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Practicing. The Lord, whose pure form Satchid Anara Vigat is contaminated by the modes of material nature. Uncontaminated. Is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature, can be perceived by pure consciousness. In the Vedanta, he is described as being one without a second. Because of his spiritual potency, he is untouched by the contamination of material nature. And because he is not subjected to material vision, he is known as the transcendental. He has no material activities, nor has he a material form or name. Only in pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness, can one perceive the transcendental form of the Lord. Let us be firmly fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord Ramachandra, and let us offer our respectful obeisances onto those transcendental lotus feet.
It was ordained that Ravana, chief of the Rakshasas, could not be killed by anyone but a man, and for this reason, Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared in the form of a human being. Lord Ramchandra's mission, however, was not only to kill Ravan, but also to teach mortal beings that material happiness centered around sex life or centered around one's wife is the cause of many miseries. He is the self-sufficient Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nothing is lamentable for him. Therefore, why else could he be subjected to tribulations by the kidnapping of Mother Sita?
Yeah, this verse says, centered around sex life or centered around one's wife. I just want to make it clear. When Prabhupada refers to just a wife or just a woman, for men he's saying woman, but for women that means, man or husband. Yeah, sometimes it is specific. Like we read that verse the other day where it was saying like, women should not rely on her husband, and he's, so sometimes it is specific, but yeah, it's true for anybody that we should not center our life around any mortal being. Our life should be centered around Krishna, God.
Since Lord Sri Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudev, he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. He is full of all opulences, therefore he could not possibly have suffered because of separation from his wife, nor could he have given up his wife and Lakshman, his younger brother. To give up either would have been absolutely impossible.
One cannot establish a friendship with the Supreme Lord Ramachandra on the basis of material qualities such as one's birth in an aristocratic family, one's personal beauty, one's eloquence, one's sharp intelligence, or one's superior race or nation. none of these qualifications is actually a prerequisite for friendship with Lord Sri Ramachandra. Otherwise, how is it possible that although we uncivilized inhabitants of the forest have not taken noble births, although we have no physical beauty, and although we cannot speak like gentlemen, Lord Ramachandra has nevertheless accepted us as friends?
Remember, this is Hanuman speaking. So Hanuman is the like he's a monkey, I guess. I don't know what else to call him. And he has an army of monkey soldiers. So he's saying like Lord Ramachandra accepted us, and we're like we just live in the forest. We're, nothing special. So obviously, it's not him. His favor is not dependent on anything material. Last verse.
Therefore, whether one is a demigod or a demon, a man or a creature other than man, such as a beast or bird, everyone should worship Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears on this earth just like a human being. There is no need of great austerities or penances to worship the Lord, for he accepts even a small service offered by his devotee. Thus he is satisfied, and as soon as he is satisfied, the devotee is successful indeed. Lord Ramachandra brought all the devotees of Ayodhya back home, back to Godhead, Vaikuntha.
Haribo. Jai. Beautiful. I just thought it was so interesting. It's really beautiful. The Srimad Bhagavatam, the place that we're at right now, is kind of giving a summary of what's to come. It's giving us little glimpses of what we're going to read about in later chapters in more depth. So this is just a small glimpse of the pastime of the Ramayana. And because Diwali is coming up on November 1st and the Ramayana drama is coming up on October 19th and 20th, I thought it would be a good idea to maybe we can all together we can discuss the story of the Ramayana and some of the lessons that we can learn. Thunderbird, you're distracting me. Yeah, I wanted to say also that with spiritual stories like this, there's no such thing as a spoiler. You can hear the story again and again, and every single time it actually goes deeper. So if we discuss it now, don't think that you won't be able to enjoy the play. You'll enjoy the play 20 times more. So I kind of had this vision in my head that we could just bounce around and like go in order through the Ramayana, briefly go through some of the plot lines. So would somebody like to open us up in the story of the Ramayana? What's kind of happening in the beginning? You guys? Okay. Let's see. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to pull up the drama on my phone.
So at the beginning, we have, well, how far back do we go?
I guess, yeah, that's a good question.
Like,
Let's start.
basically, Ram's father wanted sons.
Okay. We can start at the Swayamvar. That's where the play starts.
And where does that start? What is that?
Swayamvar. Okay, I'll start. So there's a kingdom, the kingdom of Dasarath. And also I'm not like very good with names and stuff, so please like jump in and help me out whenever possible. The kingdom of Dasarath, this is in Ayodhya. And he has these sons, he has few wives, and with these wives he has different sons. And there's this princess named Sita Devi. And she is the eternal consort of Lord Ram. It's like Radha and Krishna in different incarnation. So Ram is Krishna, Sita is his Radharani. And there's this huge ceremony where Dasarath wants to get Sita married. What's his name? Janak wants to get Sita married. Janak is Sita's father. And so and there's this huge bow, and Ram comes and he's able to lift the bow, and so he wins and he gets to marry Sita. So now Sita and Ram are married, and Ram is in line to become the king. But there's a plot twist in that part. I'm wondering, Can you share the plot twist with Ram becoming king? What came between that? Gokulananda Prabhu. Yeah, what happened there?
What is the question? Sorry.
Can you share the plot twist? Like Ram was lined up to become the king of Ayodhya, but what happened? Or maybe Manjari Gopika, can you share?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So just to summarize, officially Lord Rama was to be coronated, but it so happens by the plan of the demigods, Mantra, the evil character, so to say. Actually, it was a plan of demigods because they wanted to expedite the process, the whole process of Lord Ram destroying or killing Ravana and his kingdom. So they instigated Mantra to hatch a plot against Lord Ram. And the story goes back. There's a flashback when Maharaj Dashrath was known to be valiantly fighting in all the 10 directions. That's how it was named as Dashrath. Dash means 10 and Rath means chariot. So what?
You can make it very broad, like
Okay.
general. Yeah.
Okay. So he happened to win the war, and then because he was saved by his wife, the youngest wife was named as Kaikeyi. He happened to offer 3 benedictions, which she happened to reserve it when the right time comes. So Manthara, the evil-minded lady, she reminds Kaikeyi of those boons, and then she instigates her to ask or insist Dasharath to fulfill her desires, 3 desires. The first one was to coronate her own son Bharat instead of Lord Ram.
Who is
Number
Ram's
2
brother, actually? So
Sorry?
they love each other. Bharat loves Ram, and Ram loves Bharat.
Yeah, they have such deep bondage,
Yeah.
right? And the second one was to banish Lord Ram from the kingdom. And third one, he should be banished for 14 years to enter into the forest called Vanavas. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so Kaikeyi got into some, she got something in her head, and she decided that my son should be king. Why is this other, son of Dasrath becoming the king of Ayodhya? He should be banished. So she asked to send Ram away. So then Ram and Sita and Lakshman, they all go to the forest to spend their 14 years of banishment. And Bharat, he is gone at that time, but he later comes and he finds out about this, and he's angry. He never wanted to be king. This was all this plot from Manthara, the evil woman. And then during this time, while they're in the forest, Sita gets kidnapped by this demon named Ravana. Ravana is the king of Lanka, and he has opulence beyond anything we can imagine. He's beautiful, he's wealthy, he has servants at his command. They'll jump when he says jump and kill when he says kill. And so he ends up stealing Sita. Actually, he doesn't get to steal the real Sita. It's a Maya version of Sita. So then this is like Gokulananda Prabhu was saying, this is just the start of a whole plot to get Ram to be able to kill Ravana and all the demons in Lanka. And eventually he does that with the help of Hanuman here on the TV and many soldiers, and he's able to come back to Ayodhya and rule. His brother Bharat is very much begging him to come back and rule Ayodhya. And then there's a whole other part of the end of the drama which we don't have to get into. I guess I was hoping that would take a little bit like of a different turn, but I wanted to go into the different lessons that we can learn from Ramayana. And that's kind of what it said on the spreadsheet to give the class spreadsheet Prabhupada Priya has arranged. Like, this is what you can talk about. So it says talk about lessons from Ramayana. I just wanted it to be kind of a conversation, but I do have some lessons, and I was thinking maybe I can share the lesson and someone can share the specific part of the pastime that teaches us that lesson. How does that sound? Okay. So we'll be hearing from people that have heard this story plenty of times. I won't go in order because that'll make it too easy. Let's see. Okay, so this is one lesson that we can learn from Ramayana. Hardships, if understood through faith, help us on the path of bhakti. Which part of the Ramayana helps us to understand this? Can actually help us on the path of bhakti. If we go through hardships without faith, we'll be bewildered. But if we go through hardships with faith, then it helps us achieve our goal in life. Jaishnav got it? Can he get the mic? Let's see. What do you think?
When they get banished to the forest.
Yeah, exactly. When they get banished to the forest. Sita Devi is actually, that's one of the lines in the play. She says, all of these trials and tribulations you speak of will turn to joy because we will be together. And this sounds like a romantic line, it could be taken in a mundane way, but she's referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we can take that as a very deep lesson. Any hardship that we face in life, if we understand our relationship with Krishna and we know that He's with us through all of it, then all of these tribulations turn to joy. We can learn so many lessons from them. Okay. What about this one? We should be attached to serving. We should not be attached to a particular service or position. How do we learn that lesson from the Ramayana? That we should be attached to serving, not to position.
Came to my mind is Lord Ramachandra's attitude that his service was to his father. His father asked him, or his father didn't even want him to leave, but Ramachandra, out of duty to his father, said, "No, father, I have to leave. You made a promise. I will not let your name, be smeared by not following your promise."
Yeah, exactly. Nobody would have been mad had Lord Ram stayed in Ayodhya. Everybody would have been happy. He would have ruled wonderfully. But out of duty and out of service, an act of service to his father, and not out of desire for that position as king, he was willing to do anything. Gokulananda Prabhu? I can't hear.
Another striking example that comes to my mind is none other than Bharat. Bharat Maharaj, he had the wonderful opportunity, of being the king of the entire kingdom, but he was not interested in the position. Instead, he was interested more in the service.
Beautiful.
Service to his brother.
Yeah. And we see that in our daily life sometimes, as we stick around in the ISKCON movement for a long time, we might get some position, some service, we might get some title or something. But if I'm a book distributor, I'm a pujari, I'm this. These are, if we're attached to being that person or having that position, that's not exactly the mood that we're hoping to develop. We want to be attached to serving in general, however is needed from us. So if you're a pujari but somebody needs to go do book distribution or vice versa, we should be ready to make that, move at any time, depending on what we're called to do by Krishna and his representatives. Okay.
I was thinking also of the classic example that a lot of us have heard a million times of when the different devotees were building the bridge to Lanka, and then you had Hanuman and all the big monkeys throwing huge mountains to try to build a bridge across the ocean, but then you had little creatures like a squirrel or a spider just bringing little pebbles.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's relevant to what you're saying.
What happened in that story?
Well, Hanuman was kind of puffed up in a way, or
he was like, "I'm carrying such big rocks and you're carrying little pebbles. Get out of my way." He was basically like that.
Yeah, he felt like his service was superior because the result was more.
Yeah.
But Lord Ram was like, the result doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You're both doing the same service, and so
Yeah.
it's both equally as good.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Actually, this is one of my favorite pastimes for Ramayana. It's gotten me through like a low point in my Krishna consciousness, because I just had this realization one day that sometimes I feel like Hanuman and sometimes I feel like the squirrel. I remember there was just this day where I was feeling like my whole body was just weak with depression, and I needed to chant my rounds, and it was already late in the day, and I wanted to just cry every time I picked up my japa beads, and so I just laid in bed on my back and stared at the ceiling, and I just chanted my rounds like that, and I prayed to Krishna. I said, this is all I can muster right now. This is all the strength that I have. I can't really give you more than this. And I felt like he had compassion for me in that moment. Whatever extent I can, feel Krishna's mercy, I felt something. So I stayed there like that for some time, and then, with this meditation, this is all I can do right now. Please just, accept this. And after some time, I got inspired. Okay, at least I can sit up. At least I can do that much. Maybe I don't have to lay down. I can sit up in bed, and I can still feel what I need to feel, and I'll, just cry, and I'm sorry, but I can just sit up. I can do that much. This is all I can do, though, Krishna. This is all I can offer. And then a little while longer of chanting like that, I decided, okay, at least I can go sit in front of my altar. Right now I'm sitting on my bed. The very least I can do is go and sit in front of my altar, and still, I'm still wallowing. My body still feels weak, and I still feel, so much pain, but I can offer at least this. I was chanting like that for a little while. And then I said, the least I can do is chant with some intensity, with some sincerity. Okay, at least I can do that for you, Krishna. And it's like Krishna just helps me to come out of it wherever I was at, because wherever I was at, I was really giving all that I could give. I was really just trying, and I said that. And I said, this is what I have to offer you right now. And so sometimes we're the squirrel, and all we can do is put a little pebble in the ocean, and Krishna accepts that, and he provides us with the strength to do more and more and more service. I have a couple more, unless you guys wanted to share. Yeah.
Picture of Hanuman here.
I didn't ask them to put it up.
Seems to be a rather precarious medical condition that's coming out, and from him opening up his chest like that. Is this to be taken literally, or what do we have here?
From my understanding, this actually did happen. This is a literal thing that Hanuman did to show his devotion. Maybe Gokulananda Prabhu is nodding. Do you know what took place? I know, actually. I think Dustin, you must know this pastime also, right? You don't remember it so well. Okay. Can anyone share? Do you know this one, Jaishnav? Okay. You can't recollect. I remember there was someone was I can't remember if it was Sita Devi herself, or do you know Prabhu, or you're asking really because you don't know? Okay. Sometimes we ask questions. Yeah. I can Google it. Hanuman opening his chest. Okay. It just says upon hearing this. I think he was proving his devotion. I can't remember to whom or what the circumstance was. Does anyone here know? Please don't be shy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah? The mic.
I think this was the pastime when Ma Sita gifted a garland to Hanuman, a very pearl garland, and Hanumanji was throwing it, that seeing the name, like there is no name, there is no Ram inside the pearl, and he was throwing the beads. So Sita ji said that, why are you throwing, this is so expensive. So Hanumanji answered that this pearl do not have Ram's name inside it. So Sita ji question, what about you? What about your body? So Hanumanji showed that you both reside inside me.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's a pretty hardcore scene. He's ripping open his chest and
Yeah.
showing that within his heart are Ram and Sita. Thank you for sharing that.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Does anyone else want to share any lessons that you like or that you've learned from the Ramayana?
My most favorite one is Hanuman when he's flying over the ocean and he encounters the demoness. I think either it has to be Surasa or Simika, one of these two. Anyways, so she starts increasing her size.
To stop him from passing.
Yeah, and
Oh, well, can you give, why is Hanuman crossing the ocean? He's trying to,
why is
yeah, can you explain why Hanuman is crossing the ocean? Just for
Oh,
those who may not-
because the mission was to find Mother Sita, who was kidnapped by Ravana, right? So they had to find out. So then this demon, she starts increasing the size. Hanuman also, and it is explained in terms of yojanas, the measurement. You know, she increases her size to 100 yojanas. Then Hanuman, equates with her size, and then she increases further, and so on and so forth. This keeps going on and on up until the point where she becomes gigantic, huge mammoth size. And then Hanuman immediately takes a very tiny little, small little form and enters into her mouth, because she had been given the benediction. Only when somebody enters her mouth, but I think Lord Brahma had given the benediction, and then comes out successfully, then she won't be able to kill. Otherwise, nothing can surpass her, and she could eat. That was her food. So Hanumanji was so intelligent that he immediately became tiny, entered in her mouth, and came out. So she was pleased. So the acharyas, they give wonderful lesson out of this. Is sometimes while practicing devotional service, we try to compete,
become bigger than the other person,
with other devotees, like singing, playing instruments, cooking, book the deity is better than so many things. There could be so many we derive out of this pastime. Is Hanumanji is teaching us we should take that humble, small little position, that can purify us.
Become small. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's also one of my favorites. Radhanath Swami shares this pastime very nicely. And the badge right behind you.
I'll mention this one because I actually just recently asked a question where the answer was about this pastime. And it was, my question basically was, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna guarantees the devotee's success, right? And so my question was, sometimes it looks like we fail as devotees. So help me understand this. And the example given was of Jatayu, right?
Jatayu.
What kind of bird is he?
Vulture.
A vulture. There we go. Vulture. I was looking for the word. So Jatayu is a vulture, a king of the vultures, and Ravana is kidnapped Sita, and he's flying back to his kingdom, and Jatayu, he hears Sita, yelling, "Help! Help! Help!" So he goes to help, and he fights Ravana,
even though he's old and
he's
weak,
right? And he ends up getting his wings ripped off and losing very badly. Matter of fact, Ramachandra, when he's going to look for Sita, right? They find Jatayu injured, and he's
dying, right?
Yeah. And so this is an example of how in Krishna consciousness we're not attached to the results. Jatayu was attached to, this is my duty to serve Lord Ram. I'm going to do my best. And even though he failed, Lord Ramachandra loved him so very much that he was willing to, even give his life up to make the attempt.
Beautiful. Thank you. There's one more. Oh, I just want to mention. Well, go ahead. I'll mention this. Please. Yeah.
I liked Hanuman's his talk about
you know, the different material positions in this world, and how, you know, whether we're in this caste or this varna or this ashram or this gender or this race or this or that, there is no hindrance in becoming friends with Krishna. I don't know why, but it just resonated with me today. I don't know. Maybe if anyone has anything else to say on that.
On that point. Prabhu, was that a hand? No. You lifted your hand? You want to say something?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
we are talking about the lessons and from the Valmiki's Ramayana. So one of those lessons that really I was uh, how do I say this, wanting to follow if possible. I mean, to the best possible extent in the current world is there is an incident that happens in at the fag end of the Ayodhya Kanta, where the Lord leaves to the Vanavasa, the exile, as per the directions of his father. And he was about to be consecrated for the higher apparent for the throne, at which moment that same morning he was asked to leave for the exile. And he was not emotional, and he did not argue or nothing. And the next moment he left within a short period of time. And after some time, when his younger brother Maharaj Bharat came to know about this, he did not accept that that he was going to be made the next king according to his mom, Mother Kaikeyi. And so because he sincerely felt the kingdom belonged to his elder brother Lord Ramachandra as the ruler. And so he came to the forest to persuade his elder brother to come and to come back to Ayodhya and take up the throne. Now we are talking about the entire kingdom of Bharata Varsha, which Lord Ramachandra renounced as soon as his dad asked him to leave for the exile. When he was as per the dharma, being the first son of his father, he was the first choice. I shouldn't say choice. He was first in command to take up the throne. So when Maharaj Bharat came to know about this, that his mom had arranged to make him as the next ruler of this, and because of he did not accept from a dharmic standpoint, that's the reason he came to the forest to persuade his brother to come back and take up the role of being the ruler. And Lord Ramachandra, having to hear what Maharaj Bharat had to say, he said, I have to finish my duty, my dharma, as my father has asked me to do, and then later on I will come back. For now, you can go ahead and, run the Ayodhya and Bharata Varsha.
I think he gave him his shoes, right? He gave Bharat his shoes.
The padukas, the shoes, the sandals. So we have a situation where the brothers were each not wanting to have a great mundane world rulership where they can have all facilities being available for them potentially, but neither one of them were attracted by that. Neither one of them. And that was something I thought it was something very exalted position from both of them. And finally Maharaj Bharat took up the sandals, the paduka of Lord Ramachandra, and from the outskirts of Ayodhya, he with that support of the paduka, I shouldn't say ran, he let the paduka ran, but he was doing the day-to-day operations. So my point is this even imaginable in today's Kali Yuga? So where competition and competing even for those little itty-bitty things, not wanting to give up, and all those things happen all over the world. So that was very
That's a good point. Yeah, in Kali Yuga, this is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. So it's going to be very unlikely to see such nobility But amongst devotees, this is what we're all striving for. Manjari Gopika, I think this will be the last comment, and then I'll make one final point that I want to send home.
Hare Krishna. This hasn't been brought up here, but often it is that Mother Sita is often held in the highest regard as the perfect wife because of her chastity. She was a princess, and when Lord Ram was banished to the forest, he was sort of like, okay, I'll see you in 14 years. And she said, no, I'm going with you. And he said, how can you go with me? He was thinking so much of her welfare. He said, you're going to suffer so much. She had grown up as a princess, and basically he was taking her to live in the middle of nowhere with no proper shelter and no source of food, what to speak of actual luxuries. And he said, it'll be hell for you if you come. And she said, oh, Lord Ram, living without you is hell for me.
Yeah.
So this is wonderful. And yet I also want to point out something that His Holiness Radha Swami said in a class when he was talking about glorifying Mother Sita. He said, every man wants a wife like Mother Sita. But in order to have a wife like Sita, you must be a husband like Lord Ram.
Yeah, and vice versa. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I wanted to make one final point. What is the one thing that started so much conflict and pain and suffering and torment and death in this story? Envy. And how did that manifest? What happened? What triggered it? We talked about it in the beginning. Kaikeyi heard from Mantara. So the effect of hearing criticism of devotees, the effect of taking bad counsel, the effect of hearing from people that have envy in their heart, the effect of hearing from people that take pleasure in talking down on others, it can cause us to make decisions that can ruin our lives. We need to be so careful about who we take association from. Association is, Srila Prabhupada said, our association is 90% of our spiritual life. 90% of our Krishna consciousness is who we surround ourselves with. That is a very high percent. And so if we surround ourselves with people that are, taking very seriously to this practice and glorifying the devotees and doing, wonderful, sincere service, that's who we will become. If we surround ourselves with people who take pleasure in criticizing others, who are envious and who look down on others to make themselves feel better, we will never make spiritual advancement. And this is the very first lesson that we learn from the Ramayana. So I want us to just remember that and keep that in our heart. This is the key to our Krishna conscious endeavor in this life, is just keep our association pure and we need to be good association as well. We need to make sure that we're not Mantara also. Okay. Any final points on that before we close up? Or is that good enough? Any comments on the final point? Okay, that's it. Then the bread has laid down the hammer. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Ramayana ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.